anyway, I was talking about this incident we had when I took my baby sisters out to McDonald's, and these boys were using foul language, and I gave them an ultimatum where they could either stop using the language or they could remove themselves from the establishment. They were not appreciative. Neither were I. Neither was I. So basically, it came down to a battle of well, I don't want to say wits, so let's go with wills. And I'm fairly stubborn. I actually, that whole stubborn bit's helping me with my weight loss. Believe it or not, it's become useful. But yeah, so we had our little battle of wills, and I won because they apologized to my sisters and they refrained from using the language. And that's all I was after. Didn't care for them being there, but I don't tolerate garbage. And I know freedom of expression, freedom of speech, yada 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 yada. But my little sisters are impressionable, and I don't want them speaking like that. They don't need to speak like that. They need to learn to articulate and express themselves without, speaking in a vulgar fashion. So, yeah. A lot of people say that I'm too old-fashioned and that I have absolutely no right to make such demands. But the way I figure it is, if people have the right to expose me to something, then I have the right to dislike it and be vocal about it, and to make the same demands, only, I guess, counter demands. I know when I was in school, I took my Bible class, and I was always finished with my work. So in my downtime, I would, go over my verses and whatnot for Sunday school and things of that nature. And I would read, because I enjoy reading the Bible. And I wouldn't read it out loud. I would read silently to myself, just not bothering anyone with it. And I was written up. Well, they tried to write me up. Told them if they did, it would be a big mistake. Because I wasn't trying to push it on anyone. Didn't tell anyone my religious beliefs. I mean, yes, we had discussions before where the class had discussed religion in a general sense, but that was for an assignment. And again, I didn't try to push my religious views, not views. Beliefs and views mixed together. Haha, there's a new word. Anyway, I didn't try to force it on anyone anyway. So I felt that it was wrong of them to, discipline me for reading my own literature. Not pushing it on anyone or anything like that. Now, I've been telling everyone, hey, you're gonna burn in hell, or what is it some of those fanatical people say? Whatever fanatics say. Yeah, I could have understand me being disciplined, but just reading the literature to myself, no, it's garbage. And when they tried to write me up, I told them, go ahead, because when you do, you're gonna have problems. And they're like, well, don't you know that it offends some people? Not everybody believes in God. I'm like, well, that's fine, I respect that. But, on the same hand, I expect, told them that it was fine, but on, like the same token or whatnot, I expect that same respect as well, the same right to believe as, they have the right to not believe. And that's fine with me. I pray for people or whatnot. Obviously, having faith means you believe, right? So, yeah, I do pray for people, but I don't slap people upside the head with my religion, And if it's not okay for me to be offensive, it shouldn't be okay for me to be offended. That's just the way I look at it. And I'm sure people have put that more eloquently and whatnot, obviously, but it's cut and dried to me. If you have the right to not believe, I should have the right to believe, and as long as I'm not pressing it down anybody's throat, it should be fine. I don't become offended because they do or they don't bring a Bible, they don't believe, but I do become offended, or at least indignant, whenever they tell me, they're gonna suspend me because I have a Bible. That irritates me. It's just garbage like that. Also, racism. Holy wow. Had a kid. His parents were from Nigeria. A lovely family. I mean, they are just. I don't think you can find fault with these people. They really are the sweetest, most kind, honest people. They're very great. And their son has like this chip on his shoulder. Um, he told me that because I was white, that I owed him. And I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, you're just a slave owner. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to simmer your roll, because I've never owned a slave. I don't believe that. I don't condone any of that. That's just garbage to me. Nobody has the right to do that to anybody. But I'm like, Adonihi, you've never been a slave, and I've never been a slave owner, and I feel terrible for what happened, but I don't see how you can expect me to tote the blame for it, or whatever you want to say. And so I was almost written up for being racist, and I tried to warn them that if they did that, then we were really going to have an issue, because my family is very mixed. We have Latinos, we have African Americans, Native Americans, German ancestry, Irish. Well, that's ethnicity, or nationality. Yeah, sorry, oops. Anyway, fact of the matter is that it's complete garbage to be almost written up for something like that, and then say that they're going to suspend me. That's just garbage. Garbage. And I'm not sure where I've gotten that from, but I've noticed that I say everything's garbage these days. I'm like, that's garbage. Sorry. But yeah, I do feel horribly, it saddens me that that's a part of our history, but that's just what it is. It's history. And I'm not saying that racism isn't alive today, because obviously it is. You have cases of it everywhere, and it saddens me. And if you really want to know, it angers me. One of my best friends is mixed, and I think she is a beautiful girl. She's so sweet. And people used to call her things like Oreo, and what's some of the other garbage they used to call her? Half-breed, that's another one. I can't stand that. I hate that term. But I don't think that people should be judged on that. I think a person's merit, should actually come from their merit, If this person is a bad person, then I think you should not blame it on their race or anything like that. I think you should realize that it's a choice they've made. And yes, surroundings, your environment does contribute somewhat. But either way it goes, people have a choice to make. They can decide how they respond. You can't always choose the circumstances in which you find yourself, but you can choose how you respond. And your race doesn't factor into that. That's like your gender doesn't. Your height doesn't. Weight doesn't. If you have freckles, that doesn't factor in. It's you as a person. It's the inner person. It's how you choose to respond to things, and that's going to determine your life and the kind of person you are. So, yeah, I'm rambling. I'm sorry.